Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Wednesday One Thing. I'm your host Hamza, and I'm joined by Vasiliki. Hope you guys had a great week in the time since we discussed and broke down a little bit about what Black Friday and Cyber Monday meant this year of all years. And now today I'm speaking to Vasiliki about some of the predictions that analysts and e-commerce experts have been making about the immediate aftermath of Black Friday and Cyber Monday, as well as us going into 2021. So Vaz, hope you're doing well. Would like to open the floor to you to take it away.
Yeah, for sure. So, as we all know from our last episode, Black Friday, Cyber Monday was a huge success for so many online brands, Amazon sellers, everyone in between. But the real question here and the prediction we want to really enter 2021 with is understanding that holidays and big sale events, they can sometimes be a huge double-edged sword. Naturally, like with huge sales increasing and amongst the pandemic where everyone is kind of forced to buy online, it also brings a looming category of returns. And for many founders, it's very much an afterthought on how to deal with returns after they sell, because naturally everyone's goal is just to make more sales. But this is even more critical to be considering from now, even beforehand, on how to navigate this in 2021. And the reason why is because the stats really are something to really take consideration. In the past years, 20 to 40% of holiday sales have accumulated to being actual returns. And it really cuts into your profits, especially when you're thinking about some products that are actually not returnable, or just the shipping costs involved in doubling the shipping. And even high categories of returns like accessories, clothing, electronics. Like these are categories where this year they're predicted to be 80% in returns. So it's a really, really staggering figure. And when we also take into consideration the fact that this year there was even more of a lack of a touch and a texture to seeing products in store due to the pandemic, we can only assume that if things were not as critically outlined on the website in itself, like this is something to be very much top of mind. And the other really important fact is the sense that there was a survey done by eCommerce Bytes, which is also from the original stat, where they said that 13% of consumers actually buy with the intent to return. And this is a huge stat because naturally, like you always want to be buying lifetime advocates for your brand. So this is a really hot take in just making this a much larger priority for brands so they can always be optimizing for their own profits.
Yeah, great points there, Vaz. I think something I can speak to from experience is a lot of times when we have conversations with founders in September and October, and we discuss predictions and estimations about what they're thinking they're going to be making in revenue through November and December. Most founders do tend to think in terms of sales before returns and discounts. And of course, discounts vary from founder to founder, but something you just pointed out is that that returns on their own are such a huge phenomena. Typically something that kicks in a few weeks after the sale has happened. And as such, it's not something that many founders may have top of mind, but really should be, because it ends up having a pretty big impact on the actual sales that you've made through November and December. I guess the best lessons for this, or based on the returns for founders from this, would be what they can take into 2021 and that Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and see what they can do preemptively to ensure that customers are having the clearest and most transparent experience possible. And then, of course, the other thing that they can do now is be prepared for returns, because there will be a decent amount coming. I think something you mentioned was 20 to 30% of sales are returned, and those stats are even higher in electronics and accessories, which make up a huge chunk of the e-commerce market in November and December. So Vas, want to touch a little bit about some of the other learnings that we came across from our research for this week's Wednesday One Thing. And Digital Commerce actually ran a really cool profile on some of the predictions that many analysts have made for what 2021 would look like. Probably don't have time to go through all of them, but I would love to touch on a couple of them and get your opinion from it as well. The first one is to state the obvious, that delivery is becoming the new normal, right? With things like Uber Eats and Grubhub and Instacart, people have fundamentally changed the way they shop, and it hasn't stopped there. FedEx, UPS, Amazon, they've all strained themselves to meet the demand during the pandemic. We saw Amazon, for example, cut down on fulfillment for non-essential items for the first few months of the pandemic, and the point of that was just because of how much delivery mattered. Um, just to tie that back a little bit into the experience that most founders have as well, what when founders are planning for 2021, how important would just making sure that delivery and fulfillment is spot on be, to stopping bad customer experiences, to reducing returns, and to keep those sales going upwards?
Yeah, I think just like as you mentioned with the importance of returns, like having a very streamlined supply chain and logistics is the utmost of priority, like especially when brands have to compete with the Amazon likes and the Walmarts and so many companies that have their supply chains to a T, and where when you order a product today it came yesterday. Like these are the shipping timelines that small business owners and D2C brands are really competing against. But I think in 2021, there just also needs to be further transparency with the consumers and just being very authentic with shipping times and understanding that, especially like, for example, with holiday peak seasons, and just being over communicating with your customers that this is a busier time. We care for our shipping providers and the partnerships we have with them. Like, this is your expected timeline, and always have that top of mind so you can avoid upset customers. There's nothing worse than over promising and under delivering, but if you actually can provide a great shipping service that's still within a reasonable timeline and just communicate that properly, that's really the key. And if anything, 2020 has taught us as well is that you have to be on top of this regardless. So whether it's like a few days shipping or a few weeks, there's actually ways around this to make this still something that customers will still be coming back to you for more.
Yeah, great points. I think shipping is a space where customers have also shown a tremendous flexibility for things like paying a premium on ensuring an excellent shipping experience. So, for example, I know Bed Bath and Beyond launched a just recently announced a partnership with Shipped for same day deliveries. And the way that works is you have to pay something like $5 on top for orders above a certain threshold in order to get those deliveries. And Bed Bath and Shipped has done that with Costco and CVS and a bunch of other major retailers as well. So just thoughts to think about of different ways e-commerce brands and Shopify merchants or BigCommerce merchants could even introduce those platforms and those options for their customers.
Exactly. And I think that's such a key point because a lot of the times I hear from founders every day, like, yes, our minimums are kind of low. We eat into the shipping cost. Like, we only do minimum $50 spend and then you get free shipping. But a lot of times you don't always have to sacrifice your own profits for the shipping. I mean, if you can justify that Uber Pay has like premium surcharges on ordering Uber food to like a dollar, like a $2 to $3 coffee, and you have like $10 in shipping, you can very much justify and have the option for faster shipping. You can still have the free shipping option, but you can have other premium additions for those who want to pay that extra mileage. So it's really for you to make that option available.
That Uber analogy hit too close to home. But Vas, thanks so much for your time. Loved going over some of these learnings with you. We really didn't get to cover all the learnings for 2021 that we have on hand here. And certainly that's something we could cover in a later week. But for now, the priority is returns and making sure shipping is as exceptional as it can be for any merchant or e-commerce founder out there. Thanks to the listeners for tuning in, and looking forward to connecting next week. Cheers.